The Motorcycle Monster is brought to you by the MRA. Whether it's motorcycle insurance, roadside assistance, or motorcycle training, the MRA can save you hundreds. Remember, help is on the way with MRA. When it comes to custom motorcycles, builders are literally coming from everywhere. Many come from the traditional hot rod and hot bike venues like Southern California and Florida, but many of the best are emerging from the heartland. Places like Mitchell, South Dakota. That's where one of the hottest builders to date comes from, Brian Klock of Clockwork Cycles. Recently at the Las Vegas Bike Fest, the Motorcycle Monster crew had an opportunity to visit with personable Brian Klock and discuss his excitement and his passion for building motorcycles.
We have probably one of the most diverse offerings in the motorcycle industry because we are from South Dakota. You have no choice but to build whatever comes in the door. You're in a town of 15,000 people. 90% of the population is farmers. You got to do what you can to try to make a dent in a motorcycle industry which has grown tenfold since I started in '97.
Klock's confidence and his high energy are contagious as he told the Monster crew how he and his team of builders have been fine-tuning their craft for over 10 years.
The motorcycle's that way. It's all about the personality or the guy. I have a hard time embracing that. I always wanted to be Clockworks. We have this team, and I didn't really care if they ever knew there was Brian Klock. But definitely the name, played into the thing. Right now, I'm very fortunate. We have an incredible design team, and that's the way we like to promote it.
Brian's first motorcycle experience came with his dad in the ride for ice cream.
And Dad would put you on the bike in front of him, and you'd ride to the local store or the local drive-in and get ice cream. I was always great to make it there for ice cream. I could never make it home. Dad would get so frustrated because I'd fall asleep and I'd lay my head on the tank. Finally, he started taping towels there because otherwise you'd bang and chip up his tank, and you can't have that,
Klock's first means of independent transportation were also two wheels.
My first car was a motorcycle. I got a motorcycle when I was 14 when I got my driver's license, and I didn't get my first official car until I was 16.
Klock's first choice for a bike was a sport bike, but after a veto from his dad, Brian opted for a Harley-Davidson.
I told my dad I'm going to buy myself a crotch rocket or a metric, sport bike. And he said, no, what's your other choice? And I said, well, I wouldn't mind getting a Harley. And he goes, okay, go get the Harley because you'll kill yourself on one of those sport bikes. I know how you are.
Klock also found early on that he could make money while enjoying his hobby.
So went and bought a Harley, fixed it all up, put about 8,000 miles on it, and rode it all year. Sold it at the end of the year to some guy for $800 more than I paid. And I thought, wow, I just made money on my hobby. This is incredible.
Klock spent some time on his Harley dream and tried to make the jump to sport bikes once again.
Buy another bike, I fix it up, I ride it 10,000 miles, rode to Daytona that year in March, froze my tail off, and got back, sold it, made $1,000. All right, that's it. I'm taking my money, I'm going buying those sport bikes. I bought 2 sport bikes, one for me, one for my girlfriend at the time, fixed them all up, did the thing, went out to Sturgis, got met with some ugliness. It was a little bit wilder, like I said, at that point. And I'm like, this truly isn't worth it.
It didn't take long for Klock to find his true niche. When the realization came it was time to cash in on the sport bikes and go back to Harley once again.
Hung out outside Two-Wheeler's shop right on Main Street, Sturgis. I now know him as a friend. It's Denver Arlen Fatlin. And there was a bike there all the time. That bike belonged to Jim Betlak. Jim comes out and he goes, can I help you? I said, I want to build one of those. That's my goal, And he goes, well, this is built on a 1990 police bike. You buy, those are cheaper to buy. You can do this, you can do that. When I get home, I'll fax you the parts list. Well, he worked for Drag Specialties at the time. They had a whole huge parts list. He sent it to me, and I was on my way.
Klock also won the first show he ever entered at a hog rally in Kansas, and none other than the famous Willie G offered him some encouragement.
I go up there and I said, I know I didn't win, but can you tell me what's the matter? And he goes, your bike just really wasn't radical enough. It's a radical custom, but... And I said, what was the cop bike? He goes, I know which one, but you really didn't just do enough to it. I'm like, I changed every part on that thing. How can you tell me I didn't do anything, And he goes, well, go get it. I'll show you. So I go get the thing. I get up to the stage, the guy's jaw drops, and he goes, oh my God. And I walked up there. Willie G saw me. He's come, shoots across the parking lot. He goes, "What's going on? What's going on?" He said, "I screwed up." He said, "This kid won the whole thing, and I forgot to announce the class." He goes, "You not only won Radical Custom, you won the show. You're the best of show." I'm so sorry. So first shot out of the blocks, I was the most disappointed and the most elated I could have possibly been in my lifetime, you know. The next morning, Willie was really nice. Everybody was really nice. You know, we took some pictures, did some autographs and stuff. The next morning, I come out of the hotel and he said, "Hey, Mr. South Dakota, how's it going?" I said, "Good." He goes, "You really deserve that. That's a great bike." And he goes, I think you've got great vision and you could have a future in this. You should really, just stick with what you're doing."